Okay, welcome to the tutorial on Illustrator. Today we're going to be talking about the pen tool. This is by far my favorite tool in Illustrator. To me, it's what Illustrator is all about, except for, besides the fact that Illustrator is all about uh, it's vector based and not pixel based. Sorry. Um, So the pen tool is you click on P and you get the pen tool, or it's over here on the toolbar. You can click and hold and you get all of these tools accessible, available to you. The pen tool will, however, do a lot of the same functions that all of these tools do, except for the convert anchor point tool. That's single and kind of all by itself. But with the pen tool, I can create a shape. So let's say I wanted to create something right here on my artboard in the shape of a star. So I can click here, 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 and click here. And now I've just created a star. Now I've created my own little object, and I can move it around and change it or do whatever I want with it. If I'm there'll be some more tutorials that really go into depth, or you get more practice with the pen tool. But basically, the pen tool can add anchor points, and it can subtract them as well. If I hover over, let's zoom in a little bit. So let's hit Z and drag around that, and then grab the pen tool again. If I take my pen tool, you'll see there's a little asterisk next to it right now, and that means that I'm ready to start a new object. It'll turn it'll stay a regular pen tool with nothing around it until you hover over that anchor point, and then it'll turn into a circle, which means you're closing that path. If I click again, I have now closed that path, and that little image next to my pen icon has now turned back into an asterisk. I'm ready to start a new object. But if I come over here and hover over an existing anchor point on a closed path, you'll see that my little icon turns into a minus symbol right there, which means I'm subtracting or deleting that anchor point. So if I click now, I just took that anchor point out, and now now it's going to jump straight from this anchor point to that one. It is of note that I am when I'm creating these things, I'm clicking and not dragging. If I were to click and then drag, then I get an arc in my path. So two very distinct and different ways to do things, and a lot of times you're going to want to have that arc. But if you're trying to follow along and you're getting an arc and not really realizing why, that's why. Is because you clicked and drug. Likewise, if I have the pen tool selected and I come over here on the path, you'll see that my little icon turns into a plus sign. That means that I'm going to add an anchor point right there. So now if I grab the direct selection tool, I can click and move that that anchor point, and that's also very handy. Sometimes you need to have a little finer detail or finer ability to move things around, so you can add anchor points. So we can also use the add anchor point tool to do just that. Sometimes if you're zoomed in, you get a lot of points around, and you're trying to use the pen tool, and you're trying to add a point using the pen tool. Sometimes that pen tool gets in the way if it's trying to decide what it's doing. So sometimes you need to use the add anchor point tool to add anchor points, because that's all this tool will do, is add anchor points. It won't do multiple functions. So I can add anchor points along this path as well using that tool. Likewise, I can use the delete anchor point tool, and I can delete anchor points that I've created using that tool. Now the convert anchor point tool is also really neat, but it can do a few things. The first thing I'm going to teach you is that you can click on and drag on a point that's currently not is not curvy, it's just sharp and pointy, and I can drag out, and now I've converted that anchor point from a hard line to having a Bezier curve with these handles that I can now grab with the direct selection tool and move around if I want to. Likewise, the convert anchor point tool can convert it back to a sharp point if I just click on it. That is a brief overview of the pen tool. You know, P is a key you're going to want to use a lot, as well as the V and the A. You're going to want to use keyboard shortcuts as often as you can. They really speed your work up and make it easier. The less you have to move your mouse around, the better. And that'll do it for the pen tool tutorial.